Welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast, where we are going to be talking about a very eventful round 10, as well as a lot of and lows, and we're going to talk about it. Let's go!
Hodge has done it from nowhere. Busting the goal from inside the 30. Shade from the boundary. Dusty. Yes! You're a magician. Petrarca. The legend becomes immortal.
G'day and welcome again to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Casey, and you can find me on Twitter at Ball Boys Fantasy. And on my left, he was back last week, king of the world, Luke Rogerson, coach of the Oxlongs. How are you, mate?
This close. This close to not showing up today. This close.
Oh,
And a miserable day here in Brisbane. It's been raining all day.
Mate,
And it's been reflective of my mood.
yeah. I was gonna go right there. It's been miserable.
I thought to myself, I could not show up, but then I thought, how would people know what not to do?
Yeah, well,
How would people know what not to do if I wasn't here telling them what not to
hey,
do?
mate, I am not far away from you. I have had a shocker round as well, and I don't think I have slid 3 rounds in a row to the magnitude that I have slid
You're on the
in
slipper slide.
years.
Mate, it's like wet and wild.
I've never, I've had rounds, like last year I had the round where I dropped 10,000 spots in one round, like horrible rounds. But I don't think I've had it this many times in a row. It's unbelievable. My team is in shambles.
Well, where is your team, by the way?
My team, well, I scored, firstly, on the weekend just gone. I'm going backwards. I scored better than this in round 1, Luke. What the fuck is going on? I scored 1978. I'm pretty sure there was an early buy round. I scored better than this in a best 18. 1978, which moved me back to 11,879. I'm convinced they left a player off somewhere. Like, I'm missing a player's score.
Someone in the Patreon, Ball Boys family, scored a 23.05 without Bailey Smith.
You're, what?
23.05, no Bailey Smith.
Oh my days. How's that possible?
Nader's something.
That is
check.
unbelievable.
Killed it, crushed it. I scored a 1942, which is even worse than your score. And my overall rank just yo-yoed back to where it was 2 weeks ago before I did declare myself king of the world last week. It was pretty bad. Did your game day squad fare any better?
No, well, they've been a bit slow. Shout out to Game Day Squad. They've been a little bit slow on the old Monday, so I'll check it right now. Last I checked earlier today,
Okay.
it hadn't quite a lot open up. Okay, congratulations, I did something. No, this hasn't loaded on what happened on the weekend, but I must
Okay,
have won
stay
something.
tuned then.
But I don't think it fared too well because I picked a lot of players that I had in my fantasy side, and no one really stood up. So
It all went poorly. It all went poorly on the weekend, but let's try and find a silver lining with the sponge of the week.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Absorbent and yellow and porous is he.
there was a few. Look, and it was a round where
You're just talking over the brilliant
Okay.
sound grab, mate. I'll let you know when to come in.
you took a
Surely
deep,
no one was absorbent and yellow and porous.
took a deep breath, so I thought we were on. Yeah, no one. Well, there was a few. It was a round of lots of highs. Well, a few big highs.
Yeah.
And lots of lows. But there was a few that really, stood up. Who was the big man that
BG, Brody
Yeah.
Grundy. Brody Grundy, I thought that the Pies, with their naturally uncontested game style and maybe the fact that they didn't have their best ruckman, they might try and keep the ball away from Brody Grundy. But he could not be denied.
No, he could not be denied. And their only ruckman that they did have on the weekend went down with an injury. And Brody Grundy said, well, I'm not going to take it easy on you. I'm going to feast. And that's what these sponges do.
Massive. Was it the second highest score of the year? Archie Roberts had a 160-something.
Yeah, I think it might be second or third. I think there's been a
Impressive.
few with that very close. Was he 161? He might have been third by a point. So, yeah, massive round. And I think your round was, I guess, typified whether or not you VC'd him or
big
not.
time.
Yeah, if
Big
you
time.
didn't VC him or Bailey Smith, you probably had a pretty shit round.
You've been mucking with my chair, mate. I need to get back up to 6'3".
No, well, hold on.
Put me on a cap here. Let's get humpy.
My hump, 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 my hump.
Where's the moves, mate?
No.
No moves today?
Nobody humps like me.
No.
And,
Okay, so...
And I'm giving myself the camel of the week because I humped better than anybody on the weekend.
What about fantasy? Did you...
Fantasy was pretty shit too. But the people playing along at home might remember that I had a bit of a go at the big boys.
Oh, yeah, that's
at
right.
the end of last week.
Luke's Large Lads, as it was dubbed for a week.
You'd been doing horrifically, so I thought I may as well just come in and see what I can do.
Horrifically, he says.
Yeah. Now,
Look, it's not as easy as they say.
Well, I might not be good at fantasy, but I'll tell you something I'm really good at. That is mozzing the fuck out of anything. Anything I touch turns to moz.
Yeah.
Call me not Midas, I'm Mozdus.
Mozdus,
Call me Mozdus because I'll give you the hot tip. The 5 players...
Luke's coach of Mike Moslong.
The Moz-quito.
The mosquitoes.
Sucking blood. I sucked the blood out of these top 5 on the weekend because Harry Sheasel, Bontempelli, Archie Roberts, Tristan Sherry, and Luke Jackson.
Yeah.
In the 9 rounds...
They were in good form, weren't they?
In the 9 rounds leading up to round 10, guess what those 5 were collectively averaging?
Collectively? Oh, it'd be north of 110.
115.
Yeah.
That's including Bontempelli's 20 score.
Oh!
Guess what they collectively averaged on the weekend?
Oh, it was...
85! I managed to
whack off another 30 points.
I managed to collectively knock off 30 points of the best 5 players in the competition on the weekend just by taking control of the big boys. The other thing as well is, in those first 9 rounds, the closest that those 5 collectively have gone to all scoring sub 100 in the same round is only 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
Now, I know Archie Roberts got his way to a 101 with a late tackle. I'm calling it sub 100.
Yeah.
Sorry, Archie.
It barely counts.
So that means I went from the closest 2 out of 5, which only happened twice, to 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
5 out of 5, I managed to get below 100.
It's spectacular stuff.
I'm the GOAT.
Yeah, you are undefeated when it comes to Mozzes. You brought in Warren Francis a few weeks ago, killed him.
Got him. Durham this week, fuck you.
Second you trade out Caldwell, tons up.
Don't worry about it. I'm the Moz man.
Yeah.
I've found my niche. I've carved out my niche, and that is killing players. And guess who I'm trading in this week?
Who are you trading in?
Bailey Smith.
Oh, murder him.
I'm going to kill that guy.
Get him.
I'm going to kill that guy. So
you've all been warned.
So little review, top 5 average from Luke's Large Lags, 85. That's trying to pick the best players in the comp.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. So I'm going to go back into my little box and...
Look, it's a hard world out there, being a captain picker. It's not for the faint of heart, I tell you. If you want to give it a go out there, guys, put your picks up Thursday night. Let us know. It's a tough world.
I did find myself riding it a little bit harder. What the fuck we're going to get into this. What the fuck were North Melbourne doing?
Oh, that was brutal.
Okay,
let's go into it. We'll talk about the BOGs and Flogs because we will drive by them in a second.
God, where's the fucking thing? Fuck this shit.
And the winner of the Norm Smith medal.
You're an embarrassment to what you do, mate. You're an embarrassment.
Okay.
All right. Who was a disgrace? We'll start with the positives. And you're bringing him in, trying to murder him. But until then, he lives as the BOG. Best on ground for this game, Bailey Smith.
Bailey Smith, it doesn't matter.
He's just thirsty. And there was a lot of dominant performances and a lot of insipid performances from a few teams. And I think Brisbane were, typifying this, where Bailey Smith and a lot of the other Geelong players just looked hungrier. Looks like they wanted it more edge, more thirst. All of the ways you could describe it, they were just all over them. And Bailey Smith feasted despite a what would typically be a tough matchup.
Yeah, the luggage was our flog in this game, and he was very, very floggish.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, really bad. I mean, Geelong, not the easiest of matchups, but he didn't really get any attention, and I think he was kind of characteristic.
What did he have, like 2 points in the last quarter?
It's pretty reflective of Brisbane's
started on the bench. I don't know if they were trying to get cute with the tag that they received from last year, but he didn't respond. It was the opposite of a rocket, putting him on the bench to start the game, and yeah, it was horrible. And just generally Brisbane, like collectively gets a bit of a flog here because they didn't really show up to this one.
Sydney and Collingwood, the best on ground here is Darcy Cameron and Mr. Steen as well. Poor Steen.
Darcy Cameron gets the BOG for being laid out.
Yes, and Mr. Steen's that's pretty rough. But this is the BOG. This is the positive award because it worked very positively for Grundy owners, especially Grundy VCers too.
I wish I was one of them. I wish one of my one of the people on the panel here just said that put the VC on Grundy.
When? After he played, probably. The flog in this
I'm
game.
saying I wish you did it.
Oh, sorry.
I switched off. I wasn't doing captains.
I did overthink it a little bit. I thought that maybe Collingwood, like I said.
I don't think I would have had him top 2, but...
Okay,
anyway.
The flog in this game, go to the dictionary, have a look up the word mediocrity, and you're going to find Josh Dacos just right underneath that. What is going on?
I thought that he was going to be a 100-plus guy. He is anything but that at the moment because,
He stinks.
80 after his last 3 games, no tons. Just not good. Not good enough.
I'm not even angry. I'm just disappointed in shit like that. That's disgusting. Gold Coast and Port Adelaide, Mitch, what happened?
Butters, he really stood up here. Big 122. He was the only midfielder in my team, Luke, that tonned up this round. The only one.
Yeah.
I had 4 tons on the weekend. He was one of them, and one of those tons was Archie Roberts, so really 3. One of 2 players that got over 110 for me this week. So big shout out to Zach Butters. After, give him a bit of a spray early in the season, he's responded and he's actually averaging 108 for the season and having a really, really good year. So, shout out to him, and I think he is a lock for a top 8 mid.
Flog goes to Horny, anything but.
Just anything but. And I don't know what's actually going on with him because his teammate obviously had a lot of it. 66, 65, 66, his last 3 after going 120, 126, 97, the 3 before that. I have no idea how things can turn on a dime like that so quickly.
I'm sucking his blood, bro. I'm sucking him off.
Well,
mate, the Moz-quito. In I come.
Careful about talking about who you're sucking off, mate.
Hang on a second. Horny goes, who's sucking me off? It's Rojo, the Moz-quito. That's how it happened.
And he's still not horny, even after...
Bro, Bailey Smith's going to need a blood transfusion after this week. I'm going to suck him so hard.
Oh, my gosh. We got to move
okay.
on. We've been cancelled, mate.
If it was going to happen, it would happen before now. Adelaide and North Melbourne.
Okay.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, this game...
What the fuckity fuck was happening here?
That's second quarter, man.
I'm sorry. North Melbourne have been, to this point in the season, not only competitive, they've been a tough fantasy matchup.
Really hard.
Not only do they tag, but they're just also naturally restrictive on points. Glad you asked, Mitch. Why would you trade out Josh Rochelle, who's playing a shit role?
Yeah.
Because he's coming up against the toughest matchup in the league. Oh, why would you not trade in Isaac Rankin? Again, glad you asked, Mitch, because he's got 2 fucking tough matchups coming up.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Throw the research out the window.
You're telling me I would have had Sheasel and Sherry in the top 5 big... If I'd known North Melbourne circa 2023 was fucking showing up...
I don't know,
no chance.
This was a return to form for the North Melbourne Kangaroos.
What is going on?
And Sheasel, I mean, he did his best, but the team just got rolled.
Bro, that 93 is a 150 in a team that actually shows up to play football.
I always like looking at games like this, the top of the stats, and you just go through and you look at all of the Adelaide players at the top of the fantasy scoring, and the fact that there's only 2 North Melbourne players basically in the top, I want to say, top 12 fantasy scorers. So that just tells you all you need to know. It was just a demolition from quarter time onwards, essentially.
My fucking head hurts. And just nothing good came out of this game.
It was not, no one even scored big from Adelaide. Everyone just went okay. It was just, the whole game was a flog.
Melbourne and Hawthorn also pretty fucking floggish getting around. Again, not massive scoring going on.
Carl Amon did his 105. I suppose you're happy if you trade him in.
I'm going to give the flog here to Maxi Gawn, and it's not really Max. We know that Max can score in the great role.
It's
when
Heath.
He has it. It's Heath.
But Max,
it's the script.
Max signs off on this though. He's got the say.
Okay, sorry, Max, you're not immune.
That's fair enough.
It's no good.
It's no good for owners out there.
Okay.
And, we can't touch him while Heath is in the side.
Nor would I want to. Carlton and West Coast and Western Bulldogs, should I say? I'll tell you what the bog is, and this happens more than it should.
Death, taxes, and
getting a caretaker coach and getting a dub.
Yeah,
that's the bog in this game. If I will not be surprised. I'm gesticulating a lot here, but I'm excited. I would not be surprised if every team in the league is sacking their coach every week. Every week.
It's always the coach's fault.
This is the dawn of the caretaker coach week to week.
This is an untapped potential strategy here, Luke.
And in keeping with the theme, I'm going to be sacking myself this week.
There's a caretaker coach of the Oxlongs. Looking for a
I
replacement.
need someone out there to interview for the Oxlong gig. It's just a week-to-week thing. Okay, flog in this game.
Yeah, not much job security there at the old Oxlongs.
No. It's a revolving door. Bontempelli. What? Bont. Come on, the boys need you. Not only the boys, but the boys.
I think I might have accidentally mozzed this one. I think I mentioned it quite a few times. Had turned up every single week outside of that tag game. And of course, he goes and scores a 92, 24 touches.
But hang on.
2 marks. The only mark that really he got after, there was one very early in the game, I think it was his first touch, was a kick over the head of an opposing Carlton player that he mopped up. So as many kicks to him from the opposition as his teammates. He was doing it tough, and it was hard. It was a bit of a hard watch. The old lumbering Bont out there again.
Yeah, when he's smooth and scoring, it's good. But when he's lumbering and just not scoring, it's pretty disgusting.
It looks like he's working hard. Essendon versus Fremantle. Another game where no one really stood up and really wowed us. Archie Roberts top score of 101. Other than that, no one turned up. So. Yeah, just a bit of a flog game again all round.
I'm going to drive over Murphy Reid because I don't own Murphy Reid, and Murphy Reid decided, you know what, I'm going to fuck you, Luke, and I'm going to have a nice, big, juicy last quarter. On track for a dirty 60, ends up with a mid-90 score because he had 46, and he just kept getting it done. You're a good player, Murphy, but until I own you, I want you parked up.
Yes, St Kilda versus Richmond.
Before you go in here, pop quiz for you. Who was my highest scoring defender of the week?
I think I know who it is.
Who was it?
Was it Jack Carroll?
Yes, he was.
Well done.
I didn't have him on the fucking field. My highest scoring defender. My highest scoring defender of the week.
Obviously, he was going to turn up with no wang.
Was not on my score. I think he still has a wang, but it just how is this happening?
I traded this guy out months ago. 101 points, 10 marks. He just comes in and does this every now and again. So that was cool. Look at this game. Jack McRae, 125.
Yeah,
What fucking year is this?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
Ben Miller. It was just 15 marks.
Miller?
Miller? Hugo Garcia, 112. There's just a lot of randoms up the top here, and there's one more random that we have to talk about in the last game, but we'll get there.
I'll tell you who was not up the top in the St Kilda Richmond game, and that was Cumming. I don't care how many operational shoulders you have.
No,
you could have 0 shoulders.
Is he out? He's listed out on the thing. What did he do?
Don't care.
I stopped watching.
I don't care. I've traded in off the back of a fake 100 to get some cash, Jan. Paid up.
We should have gone Toby Murray. I
knew it.
Obviously.
Yeah, clearly.
The answer.
This guy, his break even is now higher than what he's been scoring the last couple of weeks. So Cumming is going. Disgraceful. Everything's disgusting.
Yeah. We've got one more game to go through here, Luke.
It gets better.
West Coast Eagles versus the GWS. And it's not the bog or anything here because I don't think anyone actually had him on their field. Even if you had him, he's probably on your bench. Bailey fucking Williams. You seen this score?
Boom.
141.
Briggs has been an easy matchup.
He is the greenest
forever.
of matchups. But even he had 89 points. Must have been a high stoppage game. But
monstrous.
Who the fuck sees this coming? This week just was so random, out of the blue. Good players scoring shit, bad players scoring awesome.
You should have seen it coming. He was the highest averaging forward a few weeks back.
Oh, you're joking me. Harley Reid also 136. Massive game in this one too. But who was the flog on this one? Talk to me through it, Luke.
Yeah, this
made me feel a little better for training in McCluggage last week.
I can imagine. Yeah, he was sooking it up before then. But Lockie Whitfield, I don't know. I didn't watch this game, and I don't care to watch it.
I think I got told that he was tagged potentially. I think there was a bit of talk about Murdoch doing some tagging as well. So,
well, if the Ox shit teammates are doing that to each other, then I don't want any part of it.
Come on, boys.
I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
so
done.
he was bad. Also, Finn Callahan, who's also bad, 75.
Well, GWS are just bad now.
GWS, they lost to West Coast. They are horrible. And I think we shouldn't expect it to turn around.
We need to stop rating them so highly. That was a tough segment. That's one of the tougher ones.
Yeah, it's been a tough few weeks, and this week, it just seems like there wasn't one horrible thing, but just everything was below average. Like I said, I had 3 people turn up this week, 2 people over 110. It's not like there was a Cozzy captain to blame. There wasn't a laid out to blame. I mean, I held Wang. So I had an extra rookie on my field, but everyone just scored poorly. which was very, very disappointing to see. But let's talk about some strategy chats.
No, spicy take update.
Oh, okay.
Patreon spicy take this week just gone was that Rochelle would double Rankin's score. Now, Rochelle did his bit, but Rankin didn't do his bit.
No, he was supposed to get tagged.
He was supposed to get tagged. He was supposed to have a tough matchup as well. So that's a fail. My spicy take was the Orange Redemption. So again, see above, Moz-quito. Sucked them all dry at GWS.
Yeah, can you aim that in Bailey Smith and Nick Dacos' direction?
Oh,
Please?
this week, mate, I told you I'll trade him in. So I said Whitfield, Callahan, and Ash all 120. Well, that fucking didn't work
no
out.
one turned up there.
And then your spicy take was Michael Selwood to go 85, the most irrelevant spicy take of all time, and it still failed. Okay.
He was looking good.
No.
I had a -1
Irrelevant.
in the last quarter. -1.
Yeah. No, that's what you get for an irrelevant spicy take.
Oh,
Okay,
Michael,
you want to chat strategy, allegedly.
Michael. Yes, I do. So, okay, you've got on the run sheet here, where is the delete team button, and what should you do if your highest scoring team, highest scoring defender isn't on your bench?
Ooh, these are the strategic directions that I think we need to take the show.
Yeah.
How long should a coach persist before hitting the delete team button?
Look, I'll give you the hot tip, Luke. Neither of us are winning a hat from here. We are out of it. We are out of the equation. And I don't think I'm going to be able to scrape back to a top 1,000 rank at this point.
As I've always said.
So my streak of 4 years in a row is over, essentially.
No, you're done. We're all done.
We're washed.
As I've always said, when there is no more extrinsic rewards left, give up. Chinese profit. That you don't.
It's been a fascinating year because the strategy that has worked the previous few years has not worked this year to an extent. So there is such a large gap between the two highest averaging players, Bailey Smith and Nick Dacos, and probably to a lesser extent, Archie Roberts, is since his round 1 score, he's been a 120 plus, guys. Those 3 players, if you don't average any of them, like chances are you're not listening to this podcast, you've given up already. If you only have one of them, you're falling further behind as well. These guys that you don't have at the top of the tree are just making it really, really hard to compete because they are doing well in matchups that you otherwise thought that they wouldn't. So, for example, Nick Dacos, we've all been sitting here licking our lips going, okay, here he goes. He's going to get cheaper. Sydney Swans is supposed to get a tag. Geelong is supposed to get a tag. Hawthorn's supposed to be a tough matchup. 124, 195, and 102. So his last 3 game average is a 107. If that's as bad as it gets, then
not getting affordable.
It's just a tough run for those who don't have him.
The thing that's troubling too as well is I think Bailey Smith had a poorer score a few weeks back, and then when the break even goes to 150, it doesn't matter.
He hits it.
He can hit it, and so if he does, then you cactus. The other thing that I think is twofold as well is that, I mean, it sounds obvious, but the teams who have these guys are also putting the captaincy on them, and it just takes away, like you and I and you know other people as well have certainly missed captaincy options.
Yeah,
those misses don't happen when you have your default VC every week or your default C in Bailey Smith.
So far, my average for captains this year is 107. Which is down from where it would normally be. I'm normally like a 118, 120 sort of a captain. Now, the Pickett pick really hurts. If that was a 125, which I should have been, it would be a 113 and a half. But even still, if I was like picking like the right ones, I'm still 10 points each and every week. So that's 100 points difference just by the fact that I don't have that captain, let alone the difference that player is scoring to the player in my midfield. So that player alone is worth hundreds of points compared to other spots. So it's an interesting conundrum. I think the Nick Dacos miss is worse than the Bailey Smith miss because Bailey Smith was never cheap. Nick Dacos at least started the season priced at 107. So not only have you got you've gotten 15 points of value,
massive,
essentially, and 15 points of value at that price point is enormous, and that's what we all sort of try and go for. It's like the reason, ironically, that I started someone like a Jai Caldwell because you know he'd gone 116 plus in those healthy games, and I thought that's what he could do. So it just kind of calls into question, and I think it's actually honestly. As horrible as it sounds, I actually think it's a really good thing for the game. The fact that we've got evidence to suggest the value sort of mantra works, and also some evidence to suggest that it doesn't always work. You could do it a different way. So, for example, players like Finn Callahan, Hugh McCluggage, they have absolutely shit the bed the last few weeks. And if you paid, if you went for the cheap option, they've gone backwards compared to their price. So there's been a lot of scenarios this year that the cheaper value players has not worked and the paying up has. So it sort of leads me to my next question, to the point where we're going into the buys. We've got one more round before the buys come up. Is it time now to just start paying up? Because I'm looking around and I just don't see players that are of value that I'm confident in whatsoever. The only player that I can remotely, advise you trade in with a little bit of upside in terms of his price is probably Bontempelli.
Still Bont, yeah.
It's still just Bont. The rest, I've lost faith in McCluggage. I've lost faith in Finn Callahan. I know there's maybe some talk about Noah Anderson, who's put together back-to-back 110s. I've got no faith there. Your Newmans and your Bailey Dales, they were cool for a little while, but they're not really going to get it done.
Even someone like a John Noble, who's been huge the last 3 weeks.
He's gone up
he's gone up. He's almost $1 million. Like, how much are you trusting that
Rankin's
continues?
now mid-90s in price.
Don't worry about him being, too much more value. I'm struggling too, and that's why I've at this point traded in Bailey Smith. But the thing about, you said the buys are coming out. Bailey Smith doesn't have a buy.
The last buy, yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't had a buy for 6 weeks.
So if you don't get him in now, you're fading him until round 17.
Yeah, and I think that what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and trade in Bailey Smith this week and just say, fuck it, I'll take Dersma and Murdoch, and the combination of those two, I'll do that. And then I'll trade in Nick Dacos coming off his round. Is it round 13?
Around 14. It
could be earlier.
Or 15. No, it's definitely not the first two. Hold on, let me double check this. He has the round 14 bye.
Okay, and then he goes into a decent run of, not that it matters, but he goes into a decent run of matchups after his bye.
Yeah, so he's got West Coast Eagles this week, which is apparently the hardest matchup known to mankind. And then he goes Western Bulldogs and Melbourne after that. And then after his bye, he goes Port Adelaide, Richmond, Gold Coast, North, Carlton, Adelaide. I'd say 3 or 4 out of 5 of those matchups are good.
The whole discussion that we're having, the difficulty with it, and you've noted this before as well, is, okay, if you change course here and you go, okay, well, I've just got to get these guys in. Well, who are the guys that have been killing you to this point? Bailey Smith and Nick Dacos.
Yeah.
And who do all the teams above you
own?
You're
equalising, yeah.
So, but in a sense, I think that because they've been so good, equalising at this point is like what you have to do. Otherwise, you're just going to keep hemorrhaging ranks, right?
I mean, yeah, I still think there's a degree of doing it the right way and trading from the right players. And I think there's still something to be said about trying to aim for that 23rd and 24th premium. As shit as my team is, like, there are teams that are way better out there than me, but as shit as my team is, after this week, I'm going to have 2 rookies on my field. And that they are Lachlan McAndrew and Braden Cook, 2 of the better rookies, I would say. So it's very easy for us to exit the buys, having a completed team. And really, what we should be aiming for is exiting the buys with 23 premiums. That should be our goal.
Yeah.
I think that's very, very achievable. We've had a lot of rookies not get dropped this whole year that have continued to make a lot of cash. The team values on a lot of sides are very, very high, but I think that should be our number one goal. And if you don't have some of these guys, instead of maybe trying to get them from a premium that's kind of just being so-so, try and get them from your rookies during the buy rounds, because it's the perfect time to do it. You can do 2 down and 1 up.
Yeah.
And then during the buys, you can always have a premium sitting on the bench. You might exit the buy rounds with 9 mid premiums. I actually don't think that's a bad thing to do. I'd be fine to keep some of your dodgy guys there. Maybe they can be upgraded in the latter half of the year, but have it as a loop option.
Okay. All that being said, we got to chop some players this week.
Yes.
You ready to go Kung Fu fighting?
Let's do it. Was it slow?
I think I was a bit early and I could hear it.
Oh, mate. I got the timing down. It's time to go with a bunch of these rookies, right? So, Tom Blomyers, I think it is time to go for him. Like I think I said this last week, any rookie can go at this point. I think the rookies that I would say have the biggest case to hold for another week before we enter the buy rounds, there's probably 2 that really come to mind. It's Josh Lindsay from West Coast, who's got a break-even still of 43, and he's been averaging 78 over his last 5. And it's Braden Cook, who's got a break-even of 57. Now, he has a buy around in one more week, though. He's 669. Wow. Okay, so getting close to that 700K. I think those are probably your last 2 rookies that are trading. The other player that maybe you'd want to hold is Jagger Smith, who's got a break-even of 50. His last 5, he's averaging 80. So he cracked over the 700K mark. What did Durst? Durst was a little bit more quiet on the weekend.
He had 70, but his break-evens also. So he'll be going down from here.
Yeah, so I think he can go. I think also Mick Andrew, who's been a very faithful player for a lot of sides, he can go as well. The only thing about Mick Andrew, and probably why I'm holding him, is because there's a few options that I'm waiting for things to happen there. But basically, every other rookie can go. Maybe the more interesting discussion, if you're a team like mine, Luke, and you held Wang last week.
Yeah, what'd you do in the Sire?
I didn't trade him either. Okay. So are you just, you've made your bed, you're going to just stay there and continue to hold him another week, or is it okay to trade him out this week if you held him last week?
I mean, is it the old question, if you can get the upgrade that you want, doing it with the traditional way, rookie up, rookie down, why not come out of the next 3 weeks with an extra premium? Yeah. And for it to be Wang is pretty impressive. Yeah,
so I think that's my take as well. Like, if you can do the upgrade and still get the guy, then absolutely go for it.
Especially when there's no there's no defenders that I'm feeling very.
See, I was gonna be keen to go to someone like a Zorko had he played last week. Went cheaper, but the fact that he was laid out, the quotes from the coach saying he's going to be managed for the rest of the season, just absolutely scare me off. So going him to, Zorko doesn't. I thought it was going to make you money and maybe you'd be able to do something else, but I don't think you can launch there now. So there's not much value elsewhere. So yeah, and in a line where there was a lot of options, I feel like right now, it's like Robert's above everybody else.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
And we're going to get some DPPs. I think someone like a Max Holmes is also going to pop his head into the defense, but we can't get him in there yet. I think if you held him and you can make an upgrade elsewhere, then I'd probably try to do so. But yeah, interesting one there.
Agreed. Okay.
But basically, we're getting to the point where we're finishing lines. We're finishing defense. We're finishing mids. So you might be trading out players that are good, but you might be forced to do so if it completes a certain line.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in that exact position. If I do go ahead with my Bailey Smith thing, it's Dersma to Bailey Smith. I'm going to say completes. Like, there's players there that will need to go, but
that's a good upgrade.
But
I'm excited for you. You're bringing in Bailey Smith.
Oh, mate. I think you're excited for another reason.
Oh, no. I am well beyond caring about my fantasy season.
What are your trades shaping up?
The trades I have at the moment is I'm going to a Murdoch down to a Bodie Ryan, and then a Josh Lindsay up to a Sinclair at this stage. I'm tossing up between Sinclair and Ash.
Yep.
I would love to be able to do it with someone like a Blum Myers instead of a Lindsay, but I am 21k short, so it has to be Lindsay for me to make the trade. The only other positions I can upgrade in the ruck or the forward line. I'm holding those two boys because in the rucks I'd prefer to trade out McAndrew, but like you said, the rucks there's no one really to trade in. I don't think unless you don't have Grundy.
I agree. Are there, so chopping block, rookies, of course, are there any exceptions? Are there any players that are just shitting the bed so hard that they need to be addressed?
Surely we're not trading out Hugh McCluggage. No. If you got Rochelle, we said trade him last week, comes out, scores an 80 odd. The role was worse. Like, he had 9% CPAs.
Yeah, this is one of those ones is like, how much do you tempt fate? Because it's not like they have a great matchup this week. Is it Hawthorn? I think it's Hawthorn. And it's Hawthorn down in Tassie, maybe.
Yeah, it's Utah Stadium, yeah.
So,
which is a big ground.
I'd be nervous. I'd almost be wanting to take my winnings and run there in that situation. But again, who to? Where are we going the forward line? What's a guy like? And I know I'm getting a bit ahead of myself into the trade targets, but like a guy like a Sean Manor, would Rochelle to him be a better upgrade than doing something with a rookie potentially?
Yeah. It'd be hard to say. I think those sort of things would flip flop most weeks. So yeah, I think for the most part it is the rookies getting traded out, and then in the bye rounds, if you've got those players that maybe aren't the rookies but you don't want to keep in your side, that's a good time to get them out. There's no better excuse than to trade them on their line. But just be mindful of that round 12 bye again. If you've got someone like McAndrew, Cook, McKercher, if you don't want to keep him, Rochelle, if you don't want to keep him, any red dots you want to trade, you need to trade. You're only going to have 3. There's a lot of guys that probably need to go on that bye round. So you need to be proactive rather than trying to do it all in the 1 week. So if it means trading a Cook or a McAndrew a week before their bye round, I'm absolutely all for it. Especially if you've got red dots piling up that you need to sort out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, on the other end, there are trade targets. Who are we looking at in defence?
Yeah, so...
give me sort of downgrades first.
Well, downgrades, I think there's 2 or 3. So Jack Eisen from Carlton, he had his debut in the game. I think he scored like 67 odd. Played forward mostly, but he's only a mid-only target. And because it's his first game and DPP's come out end of next week, he won't be eligible for forward status. But he was solid. And I think Carlton have a round 14 bye as well also, or around 15. They have around 14, so you'll get him for a few weeks before his bye, which is nice. So he's there. Like I mentioned with my trade-in, Bodie Ryan scored the 23 last week on the 64% tog, got 85% tog this week and scored a 61. The reason I'm going to go in there is because I do have my Wang injury, and they play on the Thursday night. So if you bring him in, you can at least loop that score. Okay. So you can put an emergency on him because the Saints do play early. They play the Friday. So that's the reason I'm potentially considering him there. If it wasn't an issue, I think Eisen's probably the guy for the trade-in just because he played for a winning Carlton side. So his job security you would expect is pretty solid. And he's got the lower break even, so I don't think you should be expecting too much, but he's very cheap, and I'd be happy to launch there.
Sullivan Roby was expensive last week, and he's even more expensive this week for good reason. I
think a few of those guys we've missed now.
Yeah, and it's been a trap that we've already fallen for. Like with a guy like Cumming, you pay up that much, and if anything does go wrong, you really are looking at just rubbish gains.
I mean, he's looked incredible and has an excellent role. So, I mean, maybe there's something to it, but I'm personally just looking elsewhere.
What about forward line option, Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Yeah, well, I would have said him. I think he started well in that game, but then faded hard. The other thing is he's got a bye round next week. So he's the kind of option that we're going to need downgrades coming off their bye. I would personally park him now and get him in round 13 if he's still there.
I'm going to have a real go here. Anastasiopoulos.
Yeah, I reckon that's... You got to be on the mark there, surely.
Anastasiopoulos.
Anastasiopoulos.
I don't think I can say it multiple times.
So they're the downgrade targets. There's also, I think, a St Kilda player there as well. Mid forward. I'm trying to remember his name as I look him up on the website. Oh, Charlie Banfield. So he scored a 60 as well. So we've got actually a few options. So he's mid-forward. So if you're looking for a forward option, he could be there as well. I'd probably prefer him over Antetokounmpo. So you've got basically one on every line. You've got an Ison mid, you've got a Ryan defender, and then you've got a Banfield forward. I think any one of those options are pretty solid. I don't know too much about them as players. But at this point, I'm just kind of trying to pick the best, what it serves for my team in terms of just getting them on the field, getting rid of the guy that needs to go first over really prioritizing any of these guys specifically.
Looking at matchup, looking at buy structure as well.
Yep.
Defenders, who could we trade in?
So I don't think anyone's a value, first of all. But what are your thoughts on Jack Sinclair versus a Lockie Ash?
Yeah, I liked the Jack Sinclair move last week just because you're getting more no Wang time and you're getting a decent matchup. But I think that there's still a chance because you're not just trading him in just because Wang's out. You're also trading him in because he's a guy that's capable of scoring.
I reckon with Wang back in the side, he's like a 100 to 105 guy. with Wang out of the side, he's like high 100s, 105 to 110. Okay, so there's maybe like a 5-point swing when Wang comes back into the side and goes back to his role with the half-back time and the midfield time. So at 106 priced at, I think you've got at least a week or two of a little bit of value.
Yeah.
With, like, you're probably paying top dollar or fair. I think best case scenario, he averages 106 for the rest of the season, which is still top 6.
Yeah, you're not getting the best matchups. Frio's not bad.
Frio's solid.
We saw Archie Roberts only just crack the ton, but then Hawthorn we know is difficult. Sydney.
Roberts was the highest scoring player in that game too, for what it's worth.
Yeah. So, interesting. If you're shopping defenders, I don't mind it. No love for Noble. You wouldn't go.
Well, I put him on the run sheet. We have just completely left him out. He is the highest averaging player over the last 3 games, averaging 135 points. The Gold Coast Suns have been chipping it around because he has 12, 13, and 8 marks in his last 3. Kicked a goal in every single one of those games too. Absolutely dominating, Luke. Averaging 100 on the season.
Didn't score 100 prior to that, except for round 0.
Yes.
This is the trouble with these things. It happens once against Jedwardis. You go, okay, well, it's out of the box. You can't trust that. It happens twice, and you go, oh, this
but it was St Kilda.
Okay, but it's St Kilda, and he's moved up in cash a little bit, and then it happens 3 times, and now at this point you're going, oh, have I missed it? So there's never a point where you just.
Oh, I don't think many people would have someone like a Noble in their side. But yeah, so he's now priced at 104. So he's averaging 100 on the season, priced at 104. I don't think you can go there.
No, but if you're cellar dwellers like ourselves, we just talked about the fact that trading in, Bailey Smith, Nick Dacos, Luke Jackson, these guys is conceding to the top. Do you just go, well, fuck it, I'm already ranked, whatever it is, let's have a go at John Noble? Like... When does it get to that point?
Why is he dominating? Why? I think it's very much to do with the Suns' game style because the Gold Coast Suns have had a lot of defenders actually go pretty good. So someone like a Bodie Hewland is averaging 95 for the season. He in his last 3 has gotten 3 tons in a row. Are the Suns expected to continue to play that way? And if they are the teams going to try and stop them playing that way? They would have won their last 3, I'd imagine. I think they've had...
Not the best of matchups. Not the
Saints,
most difficult matchups.
GWS and Port. Yeah.
When you're in the territories that I'm in, which is... I'm getting close to delete team button. Yeah. Why not trade in a guy and just hope
I won't talk you out of it. But I will just say he's averaging 100 and he's priced at 104. So... there's an element of you are chasing the recent scores.
Yeah, you're chasing. So. You're hoping that it continues for sure.
Yeah.
Midfielders. Anyone tempting you in the midfield?
I think we need to start just locking in on who we think is going to be top 8. Noah Anderson, I'm sure there'll be questions that come through. He's gone back-to-back 110s. I'm just not sold still on the Gold Coast Suns. Like we sort of noted with their players in defense, I think they're just in this hot patch of form right now where they're just scoring a lot of points. They've come up against some good matchups. I don't think that's going to continue. So even though you look at him, he's pretty cheap. He's got North Melbourne this week, which who knows? They were a tough matchup until this last round. But I wouldn't probably go there. I think we've got to be looking at the likes of Jordan Dawson, Isaac Heaney, Zach Merritt, Bontempelli. These are the kind of players that I think outside of Bailey Smith and Nick Dacos, they're clearly the top 2. I think those 4 players that I named are probably your next best, as well as maybe a Zach Butters, who a lot of us already have. So I would be trying to target those players who are just a little bit cheaper. The issue is Sydney comes up against Geelong. So you would expect someone like a Mullen to go to a Heaney. Now, Heaney has done well with tags so far this year in the fact that he's gone forward and kicked goals on them, but it's still like he's scoring 80s instead of his 110s.
Yeah.
But I still think that Heaney is a top 8 mid, but I wouldn't go there this week. I'd be looking at someone like a Dawson, a Bontempelli, or a Zach Merritt would be the kind of players that I'd be looking at.
Zach Merritt has Richmond, West Coast, Carlton.
Yes.
Melbourne in the next 4.
The slight flag on Merritt is his CBAs compared to earlier in the season are just getting a little bit more volatile. And that just makes me a little bit nervous. So in his last 2 weeks, this week just gone, he had 50% CBAs. The week before, 63%.
It's low for him.
That being said, he's averaging 61% on the season. And he's still averaging 105. He just gets it done. So I don't mind that as a shout. But those are the kind of players I'd be looking at. I don't think that there's anyone else outside of those top 8 guys that we really should be speculating. Your Freo boys or your Gold Coast Suns boys. I just don't think they're in positions to score very well. I'm also totally fine missing players like McCluggage and Callahan. I think maybe, especially on Callahan, I think I was wrong. I think maybe he's 100 at best kind of a player now, whereas I thought maybe he could be mid to high hundreds.
Yeah, he's been a bit
I think the Giants in general are they tricked me a little bit.
Yeah, they're
I
not.
thought they would bounce back, but
I think they've tricked a lot of people in the footy world. I just don't think that they're what we thought they were going to be. In the ruck department, so you mentioned Brodie Grundy before. Obviously,
well, he's the one guy still getting it done. So he's averaging 110, the only ruck to be doing so.
Yeah, and even though he had a poor score last week, he, like I said, with Bailey Smith, has just come out and hit that break even effectively. So the guy that I want to talk about a little bit is Darcy Cameron. So managed?
So he had an ankle injury. There was an ankle injury, and he was out because of that ankle injury. So that's the flag. Obviously, Steen went out with an ACL.
Yeah.
So he's not coming back. So this is the kind of thing where you go, all right, like if Steen was out for a week or two, you'd probably be like, nah. But not coming back.
No.
Cameron averaged, I think it was like 104 last season. Was touted as one of the rucks that we would think with the ruck rules actually, benefits him. But obviously dual ruck setup was never going to do that. So I think if you can wait a week, and this is kind of my plan, waiting a week, we're going to see if Tim English is back this week or not, if he misses another one with concussion.
Yeah.
I think the ruck stocks are going to be better next week than they will be this week as trade-in targets. So I'm happy to hold McAndrew for one more and trade him on his bye to either Cameron or English, depending on who's back this week, how they look this week, and the prices and things like that. But they're the two cheap guys. If you wanted to pay up, if you wanted to go to the top, Luke Jackson's probably where I would go. He has... Who does he have this week? St Kilda. Now, they are actually the hardest matchup for ruckman. St Kilda are, which I didn't really realise until looking at it earlier today. But I still think compared to Gawn, he's got a better role. Compared to Sherry, I think his scoring is just too up and down. Whereas Jackson seems to find a way. Like, he scores 70 on the weekend, but prior to that, look at his scores. Like, I think we've got to give him a pass for that one. So if you don't want to meddle around with the cheap rucks in English or Cameron, I think it's Luke Jackson, the one you're paying up for.
Okay, lucky last forwards. Justin McInerney was...
He finally turned up.
He was probably, one of the picks of him on the weekend, and looked really good too. So I think it was a 110 in the end, wasn't it, for him?
I'd be happy to go there now.
Yeah, so you don't think it's overs? You're paying overs?
No, he's priced at 91. I think he could be a mid-90s guy, and I think I feel pretty good about his role. Geelong this week's tough, but then Richmond and St Kilda the 2 weeks after that. So, and he's obviously not one of those round 12 buy players. I think that's fine. Like, he's cheaper than Rankin is now. Rankin has now exceeded him in price. It was a fast rise for Rankin after you had that 160.
Yeah. You actually have to spend money to turn Horny into McInerney now. It's sickening stuff. Sickening stuff, really. Okay, so J-Mac on the radar. Rankin, would you concede?
I don't think so. Not 1 week near his buy. He would have been such a great trade-in target a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was obvious, and we just should have done it. We overthought it, I think, a bit there. Jordan De Goey.
Oh, okay.
Is he still an option?
It went well for you on the weekend. I
Hey,
think.
he went up $45,000. Now $719, still a break even of 37, and a West Coast Eagles matchup.
Outperformed Durham, who was a popular trade in.
Yeah, well, Durham's role was there. He was by far the highest CBA getter.
Yeah, like
he
a
just sucked.
-1 point first quarter or something.
Did he? Yeah,
It was pretty fucking bad.
It was pretty bad. So he has 62, and look, and there's every chance that DeGoey turns around and does something similar, but the break even is just something that you can hide behind. And the West Coast matchup, despite them being fucking randomly tough yesterday,
Yeah.
I think DeGoey still should be good. Now, the slight flag is that Pendlebury's going to come back into the lineup, maybe the mid, but he was getting fucking tagged on the weekend. That's how damaging the other team seemed to think he was.
Not
But surely
for the
that
whole
means
game.
not for the whole game, but when Dacos went forward, it was DeGoey that Sydney seemed to think was the most damaging and important midfielder. So surely that tells you something that he's doing something well in there, right?
The run is actually pretty good too. Like, I mean, having him as your F6 is not a bad spot to be in. West Coast, Western Bulldogs, Melbourne, Port, Richmond, Gold Coast. So this is going, through his round 14 bye. Like that's a good run.
Yeah.
For an F6, cheap F6.
So I traded him in last week, and I feel pretty good about it. I think if you really wanted to go somewhere cheap, like he is 20K away from Braden Cook. So I think that's a pretty solid trade you could do there. If you got him in a bit of money banked, you could maybe do a Cook and McAndrew out for Cameron and DeGoey. Get the two Pies boys in, and that's like a double upgrade there almost.
Well, water to go under the bridge this week. Jury's still out whether we'll be here on Friday.
It's been a tough slog, I won't lie, these last few weeks. But we're gonna climb, Luke. We're not gonna get too down in the dumps. We're gonna be there for the people, helping the Patreons and the other listeners all alike get back out there and have a good fantasy. Second half of the season, we're nearly approaching halfway, Luke.
I'll show you what not to do. Stick with me. I'll take you places.
Take players out for us by mozzing the shit out of them, and we'll go the other way.
Bailey Smith. I'm going to be on you.
Please.
On you, mate.
I reckon he's unmozzable. I've said it. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning into this one. Give it a big old thumbs up, 5-star rating review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Patreon.com/ballboys for your extra Q&A podcast, and we'll see you all later. Bye.